I've always been a huge fan of nostalgic and action movies. I've grown up watching many of them in my teenage years. However, there was one I personally loved the most, and that being James Cameron's 2009 Avatar. You know, the movie where Jake Sully becomes the Na'vi and associates himself with the rest of the Na'vi tribe, even ends up in a relationship with the female Na'vi. Yeah, that one. That movie to me, personally, has always been one of my favorites growing up. Except that all changed when I discovered something off as I watched the movie again. So, I'm sure you all remember that one scene where Jake Sully and Tsu'tey have an argument that immediately turns physical when Jake explains that everyone needs to evacuate because the Sky People are coming to destroy their home. Well, the scene begins as normal, with Jake saying the usual, "Tsu'tey, don't do this." Tsu'tey, as normal, aggressively walks up to Jake and pushes him into the ground. However, things began to go completely dark, and this was something that I wasn't expecting to happen. See, Tsu'tey begins beating the ever-living shit out of Jake while he's down, punching him constantly as his nose starts to bleed, and he can barely fight back. This was when Tsu'tey then began to take out his blade and stab Jake repeatedly in the stomach. I watched in shock, as I've never seen this before. This was when I began to hear Naturi crying as she watched this in horror, while some of the Na'vi were cheering on watching this go down. Moat, Naturi's mother, was even watching this in utter shock, crying. We then see a very close zoom in on Jake, who is on the ground, as his entire body goes limp, barely moving and lying in his own pool of blood. I felt sick to my stomach seeing this. I know that there's a lot of violence in this movie, but I didn't expect it to be extremely gory and fucked up. Tsu'tey then stands up after he finishes off Jake, and that's when Naturi starts crying again as she now sees Jake's corpse up close. What really both disturbed me and had me very emotional was the sound of Naturi crying. I know she's a loud sobber when her father, Atukan, dies, but I mean, the way she cries here almost sounds like the actress herself had just witnessed her boyfriend getting brutally murdered by an ex-boyfriend. I don't know, but it was real. And after that scene cuts to black, I sit there in utter shock and disgust. I had no idea why this scene was even in the movie. I assumed it must have been like an alternate scene, right? They never show it for reasons such as violence and gore, but I'm not too sure if that alternate scene exists anywhere on the internet, or if it's just in a few select copies. I think it's for the best that it didn't receive that level of exposure. I'm not too sure who thought it would be okay to make that scene a thing, as if it was made as some sort of sick, twisted joke or whatever. But whatever you do, don't even think about going online looking for this alternate scene. I feel like it's hidden for a reason, never to be viewed by anyone. And I just think it's best that no one goes looking for it.